Welcome to the Banished Cancer Podcast. I'm Rachel, and today we're diving into a topic that often hides in the shadows: how post-traumatic stress disorder can affect cancer recovery and what you can do to support healing. Joining me is James, our cancer wellness educator. James, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. PTSD is something many cancer patients face, but it's not always talked about. It isn't a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to very real trauma.
That's such an important point. When people hear PTSD, they often think of veterans or first responders, but cancer patients can experience it too, right?
Absolutely. PTSD can develop at any stage of cancer care, during diagnosis, throughout treatment, or even years after recovery. Studies show that anywhere from 4% to 55% of cancer patients experience PTSD symptoms, and about one-third of survivors continue to feel its effects long after treatment ends. So it's far more common than many realize.
Let's talk about what triggers it. What kinds of experiences can bring on PTSD in cancer patients?
Some triggers are very specific to the cancer journey. Hearing the words "you have cancer" can be shocking. Lying perfectly still inside a scanner, feeling powerless during chemotherapy, or even the confined space of treatment rooms can feel traumatic. For patients with a history of trauma, something as simple as bodily touch during exams can be overwhelming. Almost all women with breast cancer report at least one traumatic event related to their disease or treatment, and more than half describe intense fear or helplessness during those times.
That really paints a picture. And once PTSD develops, what do the symptoms look like day to day?
They can vary. Some people avoid reminders of cancer, skipping appointments or pulling away from loved ones. Others may struggle with nightmares, flashbacks, guilt, or constant anxiety. Physically, PTSD can cause fatigue, headaches, or even feelings of detachment from your own body. These symptoms don't just affect mental health, they can interfere with treatment adherence and lower quality of life. In fact, patients with strong PTSD symptoms often find it harder to keep up with medical routines, even when they want to.
That's powerful. So let's shift to solutions. What helps patients manage PTSD during recovery?
There are several effective approaches. Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy and EMDR have strong evidence for reducing cancer-related trauma. Acceptance and commitment. Therapy, expressive writing, and positive psychotherapy can also help patients regain hope and foster growth. Support groups are incredibly valuable. They reduce isolation and give patients practical coping strategies. And self-care practices like meditation, journaling, yoga, or music therapy can bring calm and strength. For some, medication prescribed by doctors may ease symptoms when combined with therapy.
I love that idea of building a toolkit. And it sounds like timing matters too.
Exactly. Early intervention makes a big difference. Patients who seek help soon after diagnosis often feel more resilient and hopeful. If symptoms last longer than a month, or if daily life feels overwhelming, reaching out to a mental health professional can change the trajectory of recovery. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's strength.
That's such an important message. Before we wrap up, James, what's one takeaway you'd like listeners to remember?
I'd say this: PTSD is a real part of the cancer journey, but it doesn't define you. With therapy, support, and self-care, recovery becomes more than survival. It becomes healing. And no one has to go through it alone.
Beautifully said. James, thank you so much for sharing your expertise today.
Thank you, Rachel. It's been a pleasure.
This has been the Banished Cancer Podcast. Sharing knowledge is part of healing. Share with the ones you think need it. Because when we learn together, we grow stronger.